What is up? Today I am here to show you my Pokemon collection, specifically what we've got in our trade up, because as you know, we've been doing our water energy up to $10,000 in Pokemon cards, and while Dr. Pokemon was hard at work, we were at the Nashville card show. We did some massive trades. It was a 3-day event, and I think you're going to be pretty excited to see what Dr. Pokemon managed to get. We did happen to meet some fans as well while we were there, so that was always great to see as well. But let's get into this. So, as you guys know, going into the Nashville card show, we were somewhere around $1,000 or so. Well, I'm happy to say we definitely made more. As you know, we have my trade binder, the nice beautiful Bulbasaur right here. We also have this tin that I actually filled up with quite a number of cards, and I don't know how well you're even gonna be able to see that from there, but all of these cards we got in the trade day. We also have a bunch of stuff in here that I'm gonna have to go through. This is my Quantum Sports case for all my graded stuff, as well as some top loaders and all that stuff just to keep it protected. And then I also managed to get something else that I don't want to show just yet. So let's start with my trade binder. This is all the loose cards that we traded up to, and you're gonna notice as I'm going through this is a little bit different. Usually I would show footage of all the trades I did throughout the day. Instead, I'm going to just show you the cards, and you might see some footage. So let's go ahead and get started. So here we have our loose cards. You're gonna notice some of the cards are gonna be the same as before the Nashville card show. Some are new. In fact, I would say a lot of these are probably pretty new, but let's go ahead and take a look. So for starters, we have 3 Charizards, we got a Venusaur, we got a couple Mewtwo's. We also have Pikachus, we have ourselves a Blastoise and Piplup team up over here. And the reason I chose these cards, for a couple of reasons. I might not be able to go to a card show for a while, so I wanted some cards that could hold up value or even gain value. So Charizards generally hold their value pretty well. I've got 2 Charizard VMAX promos at the top there, which I think are still around maybe $10-ish. I've got a Radiant Charizards around the same. Mewtwo V, Mewtwo V-Star. The Mewtwo V is just a promo. The V-Star is from the Pokemon Go set. We have the Radiant Venusaur, which I actually had before the Nashville card show. We just didn't end up trading it. We also have a Pikachu that you can probably see somewhere around there. I'm not sure how well it's showing up, but that one is from Crown Zenith. That one actually took a pretty big dip, and in fact, let me pull out my phone so I can look up exactly how much of a dip. $17 right now, and at the time that I got it, it was right around 20-ish, maybe 22-ish dollars. So that one dropped quite a bit. We also have a Pikachu VMAX and a Blastoise and Piplup. A lot of these cards that I did trade for were from vendors that I've worked with before, some friends who happened to be at the shows, and of course, highlighting them all somewhere on the screen and post-editing, because I really do appreciate all their help. Next up, we have this page, and you're gonna notice some strange cards, like the Coughing, the Nidoking from XY. They're not exactly valuable cards, but I'll explain why I have them a little bit later down the line. We have an Arceus V, we still have our Deoxys V Max, we got the Reshiram V, got our Deoxys V-Star, Darkrai V-Star, and our Vulpix V. So not a ton of value there, but the reason I have some of these cards, again, hoping the value maintains in case I don't trade for a while. Other reasons are popular Pokemon, popular cards like the Vulpix V, and now for the Coughing and Nidoking. The reason I have those cards was by accident. When I was trading, I didn't pay enough attention and didn't realize that it was from the 2016 set. I was thinking, oh, these must be from, you know, base set or Fossil, Jungle or something. Not thinking about the fact that I don't even think Psychic was a type or wasn't the type that they had back then for these Pokemon. I think Coughing used to be a grass type, and I think Nidoking was a normal type. I might be wrong on that, but yeah, I didn't even think about that in the moment. Then our next page, we got some nice cards here. We've got Evolutions. Generally, I like to keep Evolutions. They are easy to trade down the line. We also have Nest Ball, and we have a Japanese card as well. I think it's Serena. I might be wrong though, right down here. I will say I'm a little hesitant when it comes to the Japanese cards, when it comes for trading, because honestly, the Serena card, it's a popular card. And in fact, I'm going to take it out just to show you. This is a really popular card. The issue is it can be hard to trade Japanese cards sometimes, which is why I was a little hesitant to trade for it. But the person who wanted it was actually a fan of the channel. They wanted 2 cards. I actually wanted, I think, 3 cards, rainbow cards from my trade binder. The value overall was about 60, but I just wasn't feeling comfortable about the trade. So they let me do it for 2 cards equaling about $30, $40 for this arena. And honestly, I'm kind of glad I didn't do $60 worth of cards, just because I was not able to trade this trainer whatsoever. It was just impossible. And here we have a bunch of gold cards. Not really any specific reason why I traded for them. They just look nice. Value kind of all over the place. And then this page right here, we have a ton of rainbows. And I wasn't originally planning on collecting so many rainbows. I in fact traded away a ton of rainbow cards. The reason I went for them was because, and this was all on my last day, last trade night and last day. The reason I went for all of these rainbows, and here's a couple more. The reason I went for them was because a lot of my friends were telling me that their value will probably go up because rainbows aren't going to be a thing anymore. So because of that, and again, I might not be trading for a while, I wanted to be safe and go ahead and hold on to these cards because, you know, it's worth taking the chance. And then we got 3 cards that, again, were kind of a mistake, but not really. I'm trying to frame it as best as I can. So you can see we have ourselves a Machamp that's a holo. And I actually, first edition, and I thought it was in English, but it turns out it was in German. In fact, I'll take it out just to do a closer look for you guys. Didn't realize that when I traded for it. And I'm not sure if you can read any of that text there. But that, unfortunately, was no bueno because I'm not sure how I'm going to trade it to anyone. And then we have our Victory Bell Holo in Japanese and a Jigglypuff in Japanese. Totaling, for this entire binder right here, probably about $400, $500, $600, somewhere around there. You'll notice, obviously, the trade binder went down quite a bit. And this is really important because that is, for the most part, all I have to trade from now on. I have a couple other things I'm going to show, but you probably are wondering what happened to the rest of the cards. And that is where we get to Quantum Sports. Right here. First off, shout out to them. They were super helpful. They saw me just carrying around a bunch of loose cards and graded cards and offered me this bad boy to help carry around stuff. So shout out to Quantum Sports. They have really affordable cases, and I highly, highly recommend checking them out if you're looking for something to hold all your graded stuff. And here we have a bunch of stuff. Not all of this is part of the trade challenge, but let me show you some of what is. So here we have some graded cards. All right, so let's start with our least valuable card right here. This card I did as my very final trade at the Nashville card show. It wasn't like a big trade or anything. It was just they didn't really need this card. I had a card that they found more valuable, so I went ahead and made the trade. This is my 3 birds right there. We have it at a PSA 9. It's only valued at about $22, so it's not really much, but I figured this might be a little bit easier to hold on to rather than the loose card that I traded for it. Our next card, valued at about, I want to say 30 to 40 bucks. We have our Pikachu right here. We have the loose version as well as a PSA 9. They had it valued at about 40, and I think it was pretty on point, about $30 to $40. Our next card we have is an Umbreon, and this one also PSA 10. They had it valued at 70, which is definitely high. It's probably around $50. And then we have this bad boy, which was priced at $100, which I don't think it's really at that point. But when I did the trade, I did do it at a trade value of about 100. So that's what I'm going to be aiming for. But I'm going to say the value is probably closer to $50 or so. So if I had to do the math, about $150 is probably what I have right here. And yes, I definitely decreased the number of slabs I had as well as loose cards. And again, there is a good reason for that, which you're going to see here shortly, because we have this beautiful Arceus tin. I'm going to pull out a bunch of cards. Let me go ahead and explain to you what happened here. The reason I have so many of these loose cards in this tin is because I decided on day 2 that I'm going to start collecting vintage and peeling those off of the trade. So pretty much what happens is if I find vintage cards that I need to finish up sets, they will get peeled off from the trade up challenge, but they're still part of it in the sense that their value is still there. I'm just not going to continue trading them because we're going to try to finish up some of these vintage sets. And I'm not going to lie, I think I did pretty well considering I wasn't sure which vintage cards I needed. I didn't know really anything. I was just collecting as many vintage cards as I can. I didn't even care if I had duplicates on duplicates. I was just collecting. So first we have Jungle, and let me go ahead and pull up exactly that because I did try to price it up based on condition and all that good stuff. So we did end up getting, how many did we get? Within Jungle, there are 64 cards. We happen to have 42 cards, which is 66%. That's how much we managed to get that day. And so I'm just gonna show off some of these. We have ourselves a Snorlax, which I was pretty happy about because we literally have so many cards from this set. And they're in like decent condition. I'm not gonna say they're in the best condition, but a lot of these vintage cards came from someone who I met at the show who was a younger guy who just got into selling cards, and him and his mom wanted some help, some advice. So I gave him some help and advice. In exchange, we did do a trade that was pretty equal at the time. It was all their vintage cards that they got from someone. And yeah, I traded him about a couple $100 worth of modern cards. I think it was around $300 or $400 worth of cards is what I traded them, maybe a little bit more. And hopefully we got our value here. So as you can see, I'm just kind of like showing you all the cards that we ended up getting pretty quickly here. You might notice a couple dupes. You're gonna also notice some first edition as well, which is pretty cool. But these are the non-holos. I have the holos separate, and I'm gonna show all the holos on their own just because I think the holos look so cool and they deserve their own spotlight. But let's go ahead and get our next set. So our next set that we have is Fossil. So let me go and see how many we got for Fossil. So Fossil, we ended up getting 45 of the 62 cards, and that means we got 73% of all the Fossil cards. So we have our, okay, first up, this Articuno, so happy I got this. But continuing on from there, I'm just gonna scroll through these cards. We got the Zapdos as well. And again, holos I have in a different pile in like top loaders and stuff that I'll show later. But I just want to show you all of these commons, uncommons that we happen to get as well. Some of these penny sleeves were in really rough condition as well. Again, the family that got these cards, they just bought the whole binder, and so, you know, it's in whatever condition it's in. And then I traded for the entire binder. And in case you're wondering how I kind of decided on valuing the binders, I did pretty much a rough estimate because condition-wise, some of these cards are pretty rough and some of them are in really good condition. Like this card might be a little hard to see there, but the condition's pretty bad on the edges. And then we've got other cards that are pretty like lightly played, moderately played. So I did about 33 cents to 50 cents per card, which was pretty generous. We weren't going to go through every single card and price every single one. So we did about 33 cents to 50 cents per card, multiplied it by the number of cards that we had. And then, yeah, I just found that many dollars worth of cards and modern cards and traded at that value, which went pretty well, honestly. They also didn't really want their vintage cards. They were having trouble kind of getting rid of some of these commons, uncommons, which makes sense. You know, most people who are looking for the vintage, they probably already have the commons and uncommons. So it actually worked out for me because since I'm doing the trade-up challenge and I need to start fresh, I didn't have any of them. So this worked out perfectly for me. Next up, we have base set 2. Let me go and switch over to that and see how many. I don't think we have nearly as much base set 2. Yeah, we only got 55 of the 130, which is about 42%. So not a ton on that end, but these cards are nice. And they're in decent condition, like I said. I would say the average was moderately played on these cards, which I was pretty happy with. Considering most of them are moderately played, a few lightly played, even as I'm scrolling through, and a couple heavily and damaged, which again still holds some value, just not nearly as much as one would hope. And I know you're probably not able to see every single card that I have here, but if you guys are interested, I can do a separate video where I'm literally going through every single card individually, telling you the prices and all that good stuff. Next up, we have base set, I think. Yeah, I think this is all base set. And look at the stack. This is a huge stack of base set. Let me see. We have and you guys might be a little shocked. I was pretty shocked when I saw this. We have, hold your breaths now, 93 of the 101 cards in base set unlimited, which is 92% of the cards. And we had about, I think we only had one first edition in here, which isn't great, but isn't bad. You know, first edition is nice and all, but it isn't like the goal here. The goal is just to complete these vintage sets, you know? So I'm just gonna scroll through quickly. Hopefully you recognize some of these cards. And again, if you want me to do a more in-depth video showing you the individual cards, I can do that. I don't mind. I am going to Japan soon though, so I'm gonna be filming a lot of content there. Let me know if there's anything you wanna see at the Pokemon Center. But there we have all of those cards. And yes, I am going a little faster now because I want to make sure that you guys don't get bored before we get to the main event, which is all of the holos. Because let me tell you, we got some big hitters there. In the holos, we have some massive, massive cards. So that was all the base set. And now these cards, I think, is going to be Gym Heroes. It's either Gym Heroes or Rocket. Let's see what we have. And like I said, I need a binder for all this. Yeah, we've got Gym Heroes here. So I have 52 cards in Gym Heroes. And honestly, Gym Heroes is a pretty cool set. So I was pretty happy that I got so many of them. Again, some of these are going to be duplicates, but not too bad considering that. Let's see. And we got some of the really rare cards too for Gym Heroes. And some of them are in first edition, which again, can be shown a little bit further down the line. Man, look at all those cards. We are making it over here. And then our last set that we have a pretty high amount of was a Rocket set, which, let me see, we have 59 cards for Rocket, which is, in my opinion, a lot. And there's 82, 59, some of those are gonna be dupes, of course, but regardless, that's pretty good. And let's see what we have over here. And don't worry, I'll go a lot slower when we get to the holos, because, I mean, who doesn't want to see all those holos in their pretty, pretty forms? Let's see. And yeah, that's pretty much it for those. And then these are some miscellaneous older cards that I got. So we have ourselves a first edition Erica Jigglypuff. We have ourselves a Sabrina Kadabra. And we have a Rocket's Minefield Gem, which are all part of gym challenges, I believe. Then we have a couple cards right here. We got a Bayleaf and a Lantern. We have ourselves a Wobbuffet. I just wanted this Wobbuffet because the art style on it was so cool. We have ourselves a Houndour. Again, just really like Houndour, so I was like, why not? And then I started collecting some of the light Pokemon. I did have a little trouble getting some of them. They weren't as prevalent, but I did get a couple. Someone did offer me the light evolutions, but unfortunately we couldn't get to a trade on that. We have a Dratini. We have a Houndoom. What do we have here? Dragonair. So these aren't like super valuable, super cool cards. We have a Primate Delta species. That was like one of the few Delta species that I saw, and I just went ahead and traded for it because I really wanted it. We have this Unknown J promo. We have a Pikachu promo. And then, I don't know why or how, but I ended up getting 3 Moltres promos. I think one was lightly played, 2 moderately played, so not too bad, honestly. But I don't know why I kept getting them. I guess now I have some to trade down the line if I decide to. Not sure if I will though, because honestly having an army of Moltres just sounds cool, in my opinion. But that's pretty much all we have in this tin. Now for what I consider to be the special part of this video, the ultimate cards that we have here. So my 6 favorite, I'm gonna save. These 6 cards right here are big hitters, and I'm pretty happy that I got them. We're gonna start off with this Pikachu. This is from the movie 2000, I believe, or is it the first movie? It's from the first movie, my bad. And this Pikachu looked cool, but I also had to get the matching Mewtwo with it. Honestly, I didn't need these 2 cards. They're not really that valuable. The reason I ended up trading for them was just because I thought they were cool. I tried getting the other 2, which was the Dragonite and the Electabuzz, but people had the Electabuzz overpriced for some reason, and I couldn't find the Dragonite anywhere. I did get the Electabuzz for a while graded, but I didn't really want it graded. I want it loose like these, but what can you do? Next up, I have this Onix. Not really super valuable or anything. It just, for some reason, is in the top loader when I got it. So like, all right, I'll just keep it in the top loader. Let's see what else we have in here. So we have this Misty's Tentacruel. It is a holo. It is a beautiful card. Worth quite a penny right there, honestly. We have Giovanni's Persian, also holo. Then we have a first edition Narrow Gym. We had a first edition Blaine's Last Resort. We have a first edition Misty Shelter, which actually isn't worth that much. We have a Lieutenant Surge Rattata, which isn't really worth that much. We have a base 2 Poliwrath, holofoil right there. We have a base 2 Pidgeot, yeah, gotta double check. Holo, once again. We have a Fossil Hypno. We have a Fossil Muck. Again, these are holos. We had a first edition Machamp, which isn't really that valuable, but we had the German one, now we have the English one, so I'm happy. We have ourselves a base Clefairy, holo. We have a holo Chansey, again from base. We had ourselves a holo Ninetales from base. We had ourselves a holo Magneton from base. And let's see what else I have in here. We have ourselves a holo Nidoking from base. We have ourselves a holo Clefable from Jungle. Holo Victory Bell from Jungle. We have a holo Nidoqueen. We actually have 2 of them from Jungle. Don't ask me why I have 2. I just, for some reason, got 2. We have a holo Genghis-Khan from Jungle as well. Holo Vileplume from Jungle. We have a holo Muck from Fossil. We have, again, I don't know why, but I have 2 holo Dark Weezings from Rocket. And honestly, I didn't even know that one of them was holo. I think the person who sleeved it too didn't know. It's really, really faint holo foil on these cards. So that's probably why the holo's not that great on them. We got ourselves a Dark Slowbro, which I actually didn't need. I just traded for it for the fun of it from Rocket. We have a first edition Old Rod. We have ourselves a holo Gyarados, which I think just looks amazing. We have ourselves a holo Raichu, which also is hard for me to find. It was from Fossil. Holo Lapras from Fossil. Now we're gonna hit a really big hitter that I didn't need for this vintage trade-up thing that I'm doing, but this Pokemon card was just amazing. It was a holo Typhlosion in like near mint condition, I would say. Probably lightly played. Lightly played, that is really good condition. I would not be surprised if this got at least an 8. I might get this one graded just because it looks like it's in such great condition. Then we got ourselves a Jolteon, which I think is from Jungle, but there's no symbol on it, and I thought that was weird. I don't know if it's supposed to be like that, but we have this Jolteon. Condition-wise, probably lightly played, so again, another card that I'm thinking about getting graded. We have ourselves a Vaporeon, again, holo Jungle. Condition, moderately to heavily played, so it's a nice card though, one of my favorites for the evolutions back then, so I might get it graded. Got ourselves a holo Gengar. This one was hard to find. This was on my last day, one of the last few trades I did. It's in moderately played probably. We have ourselves another big hitter, Blaine's Arcanine. This was again a hard one to find, not that I was necessarily looking for it, but I didn't see a lot of these. Condition wise, probably lightly played to near mint. It's in really, really good condition. Then, this is a card that you guys will probably recognize. It is my Rocket's Mewtwo. Condition-wise, moderately played probably. It's not too bad, honestly. Worth getting graded in my opinion. This one, I was pretty happy about. Dark Charizard. Worth a pretty penny. Condition-wise, moderately to heavily played. Not the best condition. Ignore these like white marks, they're just stickers that I peeled off. Then, I don't know why I got 2 of these, but I got 2 Mewtwo's from base set, which honestly, now that I'm looking at it, it's probably a good thing because one of them has heavy scratches on the holofoil. This one has pretty heavy scratches on the holo. This one seems pretty good. It's a little hard to tell through the top loader, but you know, something to note. And then also this one that has the scratches is probably close to moderately to heavily played. This one's on the moderately played side, so it's probably good that I have both. Now, we're about to hit a card that I was so stoked when I found out that I got it. I didn't even realize that it was first edition. It is a Misty Trainer card. This card is like $45. I didn't realize that when I was trading for it, but yeah, first edition, holo, such a nice card. We also have Erica, holo, but not a first edition. We have ourselves an Eevee promo, a nice holo. And then, again, I don't know why I'm getting so many dupes of some of these holos. Not that I'm really that upset. I got 2 Moltres. I am building a Moltres army over here. All right, this is what, 5 Moltres that I traded for? Maybe 6, because I think I had a non-holo somewhere as well. But yeah, kind of glad I got these. One of them looks lighter in color, so that's another reason where I was like, it couldn't hurt to get 2. The centering also on them is not the best. I think they're pretty off. Like, the top is definitely thicker than the bottom on both of them. And I think condition-wise, we've got a moderately to lightly played for these 2. So not too bad. That is our massive stack of holos. Now for 2 cards that I traded for just because of how good the condition was. We have ourselves a Mr. Mime holo, which are probably like, so what? This thing is probably close to a grade 10. There is no whitening anywhere that I can see. Maybe a dot in a corner or something, but overall, I think this could grade super, super high. Then the other card is a Zapdos. This one is from base set. It's a holo. And again, the back of this looks so clean that I'm pretty confident on the grading on this. I feel like it could be at least a 9, probably a 10, and that's a pretty big deal. Now, for our final 6 cards. These were the biggest trades that I did on these days. I guess, you know, I did trade my Charizard VMAX, the Rayquaza. I had a Rayquaza too that was like $200 something. Those are big trades, but I think overall these were the best things that I got during my trade days. So let's start with the Japanese cards. I have these 3 CD promos totaling about, I think I traded them for about a $200 value, which, you know, looking at them, they're not in the best condition. Let's start with the Venusaur. So centering wise, it looks okay, but condition, it's okay. It's a nice holo. The back has a decent amount of whitening. I would say probably moderately played. So I'll probably put this at about $50. Then I have our Blastoise right here. We've got a nice swirl that's going to be kind of hard to catch on camera down in this corner, but there's a nice swirl right there. The centering looks pretty good. You know, it looks a little bit faded. The back, I would say moderately played probably. I put this at about $50 as well. Next, we have our Charizard from the CD promo. Here we go. This one, not the best condition. I would say heavily played. Yeah, probably on the heavily played side. There's a lot of whitening around the corners and edges, as well as on the front. It's not looking too hot. And honestly, I didn't even check if that sticker, hopefully that sticker that's on it, if I can even get the card out. All right, good. I was worried for a second that that sticker that's on the back might be on the actual card, which would have been really, really bad. But regardless, I am thinking about getting these 3 cards graded because I think they're not going to grade super high, but they're such nice cards. I got all 3 of them. I mean, these were pretty big trades. Altogether, about $200. This Charizard was about $100. So not too bad. Now, before I get into our final 3 cards, I do want to point out that I did get this booster box as well for Astral Radiance. I want to go ahead and thank the people who gave this to me. What we did was we had acrylic cases from Luna Fabrication. And pretty much I just traded those 5 cases, which were for booster boxes, for a booster box itself. And it was successful. And this is going to be added to our trade up challenge. I'm going to open this in a separate video and we'll see what I get out of this. And hopefully we'll add a decent amount of value there as well. But now that we have that out of the way, also the company that traded for it was Detroit Breakers. Please check them out. Links in the description below, so make sure you check that out. Our last 3 cards right here. These were our big hitters for the day. And in fact, I gotta look up the prices again because I don't even remember off the top of my head. I will say they did decrease some since I got them, but it is what it is. So let's start off with the Venusaur. Let me pull up the Venusaur's value. And I will go ahead and say I was a little upset because when I traded for this, it was late. I wasn't paying that much attention. I didn't realize it was for base set 2. So the value is a little bit lower there. But this is a nice Venusaur holo. There does seem to be a little bit of an imprint on the holo in the top corner, which might be a little hard to see. But overall, it's an amazing card. Condition-wise, on the back, moderately played probably. However, I would say probably it's damaged because of some of the imprints that are on the holo foil and stuff. And it looks like there's a pretty big cut on it too. But if I had to put it at where I'm thinking it's about $40. I probably traded at a much higher value. I think I traded at a $60, $70, $80 value, somewhere around there. Which, yes, is high, but my goal was to get the complete set, because as a complete set, it is valued more. Granted, I didn't realize it was base set 2, so that's the unfortunate part. However, we do have our Blastoise, which is in base set 1, unlimited. This card right here, pretty rough condition, heavily played probably. You can see some of the foil coming off on the bottom. However, I think this one had a really decent swirl. No, this one didn't. So I actually had a base set 2 Blastoise as well that I traded, which on hindsight I probably should have kept, but I did end up trading it, and it had a beautiful swirl on it. But regardless, this is a nice Blastoise. And the back, again, probably close to moderately played, heavily played. The value for that one we have at about $30, $31. So it's actually worth less than the Zapdos, which is at about $34 if it's at near mint, which I think it is, but it is what it is. Our last card is a Charizard. Now this Charizard, I would put it at probably moderately played. And keep in mind, I'm trying to be pretty harsh on these. I think it could be somewhere between lightly and moderately played. And it is from base set Unlimited. This card right here is in really good condition. Some scratches on the holo foil, of course, but you know, that's to be expected of a card this old. This card right here, this is where the big money is at. We are looking at about, let's say moderately played on this. We're looking at about $180 for this card alone. So I think when I did the trades for these, I valued the total at about $500. Yes, that is high, but considering I have a complete set of these, even though, yes, the Venusaur is base set 2, I think that's a pretty good deal overall. And these values, I feel like would probably go up. The cards overall, decent condition, and I'll probably get these graded. I'm pretty happy with that. So overall, we had a lot of stuff. And based off of my calculations, last I did them, we hit about $2,000 total. So we doubled our money after one day, which isn't too bad, honestly. So if I had to guess, probably close to like $2,200. Keep in mind, that's including this box that we're gonna have to break open. So hopefully we get something of value in here. Otherwise, maybe I should just trade it, but I think you guys would rather see me open it. I know I'd rather open it. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. If you like this video, make sure to share, comment below, all the good stuff. And hopefully you'll get to see me do another trade up soon. It might be a while, but I was pretty happy with how this turned out. This was definitely an amazing experience going to my first large card show, getting to meet all these amazing people, doing these amazing trades, and it was a journey that I'm absolutely loving, and I can't wait to continue it.